I've always thought of myself as someone who can handle being alone. I'm 30 now, living in a 2-story mother-daughter house with my sister, each of us with our own space, her downstairs, me upstairs. 2 kitchens, 2 lives, often separate. She's rarely home, spending most nights with her boyfriend 20 miles away. I don't mind the solitude, usually. I'm a grown man, after all. But there are nights when the quiet feels heavier, when the shadows seem to move on their own. Nights that remind me of other times I've been alone, times that left scars, both literal and otherwise. Let me take you through them, the nights that still haunt me, the ones that make me question what's real and what's not. It was a chilly autumn night, the kind where the wind rattles the windows just enough to make you jump. I was sprawled on my couch in the upstairs living room, the heart of my open-plan apartment. The space is wide and airy, living room, dining area, and kitchen all flowing into one, but that night, it felt exposed. The couch sits in the middle, leaving a vast, dark expanse behind me. I was watching a horror movie, the kind with creaking doors and sudden screams, the TV's flickering light the only thing cutting through the darkness. I'm not proud to admit it, but I kept glancing over my shoulder, half expecting to see something in the shadows. At 30, you'd think I'd be past that. But fear doesn't care about age. When the credits rolled, I shook off the unease, brushed my teeth, and flipped off every light in the house. The silence settled in as I crawled into bed, the world outside reduced to the faint hum of the fridge. Sleep came quickly, but it didn't last. Around 1 a.m., I woke with a start, my heart pounding, though I wasn't sure why. Then I heard it, a voice, faint but unmistakable, coming from downstairs. It was my sister's voice, calling my name. I sat up, groggy, my mind sluggish from sleep. Was she home, maybe fighting with her boyfriend again? I called out, "Sis, you okay?" No response, just the echo of my own voice. Then, clearer this time, her voice again, "Up here." It sounded urgent, almost desperate. I stumbled out of bed, my bare feet cold against the hardwood floor, and flicked on the hallway light. The yellow glow did little to ease the knot in my stomach as I moved through the living room, the open space now feeling like a void waiting to swallow me. Downstairs, her apartment was pitch black. I fumbled along the foyer wall for the light switch, my fingers clumsy in the dark. Her voice called again, sharper now, my name slicing through the silence. "What is it?" I shouted, my voice cracking with a mix of irritation and fear. Finally, I found the switch. The kitchen light flickered on, dim at first, casting long shadows across her small living room. I froze. The apartment was empty. No sister, no boyfriend, no one. I checked her bedroom, my pulse racing. Empty. Her bed was neatly made, untouched. "Hello," I called, louder this time, my voice bouncing off the walls. Silence. Then, a sharp thud, like a book hitting the floor, from the bedroom I'd just checked. My blood ran cold. I'd been in there seconds ago. There was nothing, no one, to make that sound. I backed away, my legs shaking, and bolted upstairs, locking myself in my room. I grabbed my phone and dialed my sister. No answer. I tried again. Nothing. I sat on my bed, the phone trembling in my hand, trying to convince myself I'd imagined it. Maybe I was still half asleep, caught in some vivid dream. But her voice had been so clear, so real. And that thud, it wasn't my imagination. I stayed awake, jumping at every creak of the house, until exhaustion pulled me under. The next morning, my phone buzzed with a text from my sister. "Why'd you call me at 1 a.m.? I typed back, my fingers hesitant. "Were you home last night?" Her reply was immediate. "No, I'm at Jake's." My stomach dropped. I went downstairs, heart pounding, and checked her bedroom again. The floor was bare. No books, no objects, nothing that could have fallen. I wanted to believe it was a hallucination, but I've never had one before. The alternative, that someone, or something, was in the house, mimicking her voice, was too terrifying to consider. That night wasn't the first time being alone shook me. It brought back memories, fragments of other nights that have stayed with me, each one carving a little deeper into my sense of safety. I was 14, living with my single mom, an RN who worked brutal overnight shifts. My older brother was off at college, so I was often left to hold down the fort, as Mom put it. That night, I'd had a girl over, Molly, someone I was crushing on. We watched movies in my upstairs bedroom, the one overlooking the backyard deck. She left around 10 p.m., her parents strict about curfews. Alone again, I flipped on the TV, the blue glow filling the room as I sprawled on my bed. Then I heard it, a scraping sound, like metal dragging across wood. It came from the deck. I froze, the remote slipping from my hand. Slowly, I crept to the window and peered out. A figure sat in one of the deck chairs, staring up at my window. In the dim moonlight, I couldn't make out a face, but the shape was human, motionless. Thinking it might be Molly pulling a prank, I called her name. The figure tilted its head, and I realized it wasn't her. It wasn't anyone I knew. Panic surged through me. I ducked away, my heart hammering, and texted my group chat, asking if any of my friends were messing with me. The replies came fast. Not me. What's going on? I didn't believe they'd sneak onto my property anyway. Stealing myself, I edged back to the window. He was still there, staring up, unblinking. I yelled, "What do you want?" His shoulders started shaking, like he was laughing, but the sound was wrong, a faint, wheezing whistle, like air escaping a balloon. "Please, just go," I shouted, my voice breaking. I backed away, turned off the TV, and curled up on my bed, wrapping my arms around my knees. I didn't dare move, afraid the glow of my phone would give me away. The window was open, and every creak of the house felt like his footsteps. Then I heard it, the back door rattling, followed by the front. He was trying to get in. I wanted to call 911, but fear paralyzed me. I just sat there, praying he'd give up. After what felt like hours, the noises stopped. I didn't move until morning, when my mom got home. I told her everything, and she was furious, not at me, but at the situation, at my failure to call the police. I was just a scrawny kid, not a fighter. If he'd gotten in, I don't know what would have happened. That night taught me how vulnerable you are when you're alone, how a locked door is sometimes the only thing between you and danger. When I was 10, I faced something even worse. We were a family of 5, me, my parents, my 14-year-old brother, and my 5-year-old sister. It was a Friday night, and I was in my room, lost in a Star Wars video game, the blaster sounds filling my headphones. Suddenly, I heard my mom scream downstairs. I tore off the headphones and ran to the living room, where she was on the phone, sobbing. My dad was trying to calm her, but his face was pale. My brother had been hit by a car. They didn't tell me much, just that his leg was broken and they had to get to the hospital. They grabbed my little sister, asked if I'd be okay alone, and I nodded, not wanting to see my brother hurt. In their rush, they left the front door unlocked, a detail that would haunt us later. I went back to my game, trying to distract myself from worry, telling myself my brother would be fine. My dad's calm voice had reassured me, even if my mom's panic lingered in my mind. Past midnight, long after my bedtime, I was still playing when I heard the front door creak open. I assumed it was my family returning. I turned off the TV and PlayStation, crawled into bed with my Game Boy, and waited for their voices. But there was nothing, just silence, thick and wrong. Unease crept over me. I tiptoed to my door, opened it quietly, and peered over the banister into the dark living room below. 3 tall figures stood there, motionless, their silhouettes barely visible in the moonlight. They weren't my family. My heart stopped. I backed into my room, easing the door shut, but the click of the latch seemed deafening. I scrambled into my closet, crouching behind boxes and bags of clothes, my breath shallow. Footsteps climbed the stairs, slow and deliberate. My bedroom door creaked open. I heard the rustle of my bedcovers, then footsteps approaching the closet. The door swung open, and I squeezed my eyes shut, certain I was done for. Seconds stretched into eternity, 20, maybe 30, before the door closed again. The footsteps retreated. I stayed hidden, trembling, until I heard my parents' car pull into the driveway an hour later. I ran downstairs, tears streaming, and found the front door ajar. The intruders had stolen jewelry, electronics, anything they could carry. My parents were devastated, not just by the theft but by the realization they'd left me in danger. I've always wondered if the person who opened that closet saw me hiding there and chose to leave me alone, or if I was just invisible in the dark. At 17, I was alone again, this time for an entire week. My parents were on a rare vacation, a trip paid for by my mom's wealthy friend. We lived in Newark, Ohio, in a house backed by dense woods, the kind that seemed to swallow sound. It was July 2013, a warm Thursday night, and I was out on our large backyard deck, smoking weed and blasting music from a portable speaker. The deck overlooked a fish pond and an above-ground pool, the woods looming just 20 yards away. I heard a voice, faint over the music, calling from the trees, "Hey, over here." I lowered the volume, thinking it was kids playing in the woods. But the voice came again, deeper, more insistent, "We need help." I turned the music off completely, my high making me curious rather than cautious. "Who's there?" I called. The response was immediate. "We're stuck in the woods. Please, come help." I stepped off the deck, my sneakers sinking into the grass, and called back, "Where are you?" The voice answered, "Right in front of you. I see you." My stomach twisted. "Are you alone?" I asked. Silence. That's when it hit me. Something was wrong. I backed toward the house, my eyes locked on the dark tree line. No more calls came, but I wasn't taking chances. I locked every door and sat in the living room, still buzzed but now paranoid. Then I heard splashing, water, close, from the pool or pond. A laugh followed, low and mocking. "I see you." I peeked through the blinds and saw a man's head behind the pool, his dark hair catching the moonlight. Before I could react, he slammed his fist against the window, screaming, "Help." I stumbled back, my heart in my throat, and screamed, "Get out of here. The police are coming." I kept yelling, trying to sound tougher than I felt. His laughter faded as he retreated. I didn't sleep much that night, even with the weeds' help. The idea of someone, or multiple people, lurking in those woods, watching me, made me rethink every sound, every shadow. I've been cautious about who I let near my door ever since. Fast forward to now, at 23, still living with my parents. One afternoon, I was shooting hoops in the front yard, the ball's rhythmic thump grounding me. I glanced up at an upstairs window and froze. A woman stood there. Not my mom, not my sister, a stranger. Her face was pale, her eyes locked on mine. When I blinked, she was gone. I rushed inside, my pulse racing, and searched every room, bedrooms, bathrooms, closets. Nothing. The back door was unlocked. I'd left it open when I grabbed the basketball. She must have slipped out. I screamed into the empty house, "Get out!" My neighbor heard and came over, helping me search again. We found no one, and I locked every door, shaken but relieved. That night, I couldn't sleep. My mind replayed the image of her face, the way she'd vanished. As I finally started to drift off, a sound snapped me awake, soft, human-like, from the other side of my bed. The fan above masked it at first, but it grew clearer, rustling, breathing. I turned over and saw her, the same woman, crawling out from under my bed. She stood, towering over me in the dark. I screamed, louder than I ever have, and lunged, tackling her to the floor. My hands gripped her shoulders as I shouted, "Who are you?" She thrashed, clawing at my arms, leaving 2 scars I still carry. My doorbell rang, my neighbor again, alerted by my screams. He helped me restrain her as she screamed and cursed, her eyes wild, her clothes dirty. The police arrived, recognized her as Karen, a repeat offender, and took her away. As they drove off, I felt a strange mix of fear and triumph. I'd stopped her, but the violation of her presence, under my bed, in my home, lingered. These nights, spanning my childhood to now, have woven a thread of unease through my life. The voice mimicking my sister, the man on the deck, the intruders in the living room, the voice in the woods, the woman under my bed, each moment chipped away at my sense of safety. I'm 30 now, and I still check the locks twice, still pause at unfamiliar sounds. Solitude, once a comfort, now carries a weight, a reminder that the line between safety and danger is razor thin.